Hi, good evening. Welcome. This is the second of our two September meetings of the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission. It is September 16th at 6:49 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, this meeting of the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation. Recording of these proceedings can be accessed at any time using the registration link at the top of this agenda. And we'll do our customary introductions. Get my Zoom screen back. For anybody who doesn't know us already, starting with Ms. Price.
Hi, my name is Denise Price, and I live in a local historic district.
Thank you. If Mr. Shagnon.
I'm DJ Shagnon. I'm the landscape architect on the commission and a resident of Ward 5.
Thank you. Mr. Falvey.
Hi there, I'm Ryan Falvey, and I am a resident of Ward 2.
Thanks. And we have Vice Chair Kelly.
I'm the Realtor member of the commission and a historic homeowner in Union Square.
Thanks. I'm Eric Parks, architect, Ward 3, resident, historic homeowner. And we have staff here. We have Ms. Anthony.
Hi, I'm Madison Anthony. I'm a planner with the Department of Planning, Preservation, and Zoning.
Thanks. We have some other folks. Do you want to give them a nod here? New people, right?
Yep, Alvaro, how about you introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, my name is Alvaro and I'm a planner also with PPC.
And Kit, your turn.
Hi, I'm Kit Lester, and I'm also a planner with PPC.
Well, welcome, everybody. Okay, looking at the agenda, we have two items, one of which has been continued, which we'll just read in the record, but actually let's start off with that. The first item is an alteration to local historic district property. The case is HP 25-000057, address is 53 Columbus Avenue. Applicant is Kristen Driscoll, the owner is Mildred Gambale, and the applicant has requested that we continue their case until November 18th, so the November 18th hearing. I don't believe we need a vote for that. We're just reading that into the record. And the second item on our agenda is a public hearing as part of our demolition review ordinance. And I'll give you our standard, our boilerplate thing. The demolition review ordinance process is a two-step process. The first is a vote like we're having tonight to review a proposed demolition. And we basically determine whether the building has historic significance or not. And that process just looks at the building as it exists. It doesn't really entertain things such as alternates and building condition and stuff like that. It just looks at the merits of the building as it is. If we vote no, then the applicant is free to demolish. If we vote yes, then we host another hearing the following month usually, which we determine whether or not the building is preferably preserved. And that is a more detailed look at the condition of the building, more nuances, and decide whether it ought to be preserved or not, which would start up to an 18-month delay or less if things move along faster. If we vote no, then again, the applicant is free to demolish. And a note to anybody in the audience, this is not we're not the zoning board or the planning board. We don't look at overall neighborhood issues such as impact on neighboring houses. It's purely look at the historic merits of the building. If anybody is around for that, that's our backstory. And with that out of the way, is the applicant here for this case? Oh, it's HP 25-000056. That address is 10 Sargent Avenue. The applicant is the law office of Michael LaRosa. The owner is Patrick and Kayla Canty. And is the applicant here tonight?
Yes, hi, this is Mike LaRosa, attorney for the owners and applicants. I apologize, my service is a bit spotty, so I think I'm going to leave the video off to make sure you folks can hear me the whole time.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah, welcome. Just give us a quick rundown of what you're up to. Anything you want to tell us?
Yeah, so the applicants, actually, the current owners have the property up for sale. The buyers wish to develop it after looking through it, looking at the current location of the structure, the condition of it, in some of the characteristics of it based on age and, building during that time don't really make it feasible. So they're looking to demolish it and rehab to build new units to meet the housing needs of Somerville. I did look at the staff report. There doesn't seem to be much, other than the general style of the home, there doesn't seem to be much, or at least to me, that remains significant. As you can see, and as is mentioned in the report, windows and doors have been replaced, the doorway's been replaced, a bunch of alterations over the years, most likely removing things from under the eaves. The original door canopy gone. Really what remains is basically the original shell, but not much that I can see that's significant. And then as to the backstory of it, or the historical association, I mean, all that really came up was, much like at the times, it seems like someone who had some power and money at the time, the former treasurer of the city, was able to own a bunch of land and plat it out for subdivision. Doesn't appear that he lived there. It looks basically like he was the developer of his time and had the means and access to real estate. So we would ask that the board deem it, I guess, not significant, if you want to call it that. I hate to say that, but in order to demo that, and then they're also going to apply to demo the concrete block garage in the back and build more suitable housing, more up to current standards.
Okay, thank you. If you all are through with your initial thing, we're gonna switch to public comment. That's our next section. And sounds like that's the case. So any members of the public who'd like to speak about this case, please raise your hand and staff will unmute you.
Chair Parks, this is Madison speaking. I don't see anyone raising their hand right now.
Okay. In that case, I will close the public comment portion of this hearing and let the commission take this up.
Well, I'll dig in. I think that my take on it is that the staff report does a pretty good job of presenting it as one of the less impressive in terms of retention of, and honestly, the applicants pointed this out too, that in terms of the retention of details and so forth, it's not particularly noteworthy, especially compared to some of its neighbors. But to me, what stands out thinking about it in terms of significance is that it's very much like one of a rather large group of really similar properties that sort of creates a rhythm of the streetscape and speaks to the pattern of development of worker housing in the area at the time. So, I'm not sure where I'd land on the preferably preserved question, but I think in the context of a group of buildings and in the context of the general pattern of development, it feels like it at least to me meets that first bar of significance.
Thank you, DJ.
Yeah.
Concur. The house obviously has been stripped of much of its original detail, but it does retain essentially its original form and massing. And that without it, the rhythm of the streetscape would be very much impacted. And so I think it's important to preserve.
I agree with everything that's been said. This is a really cute little street. And a lot of the houses have the front pitched roof, and it's just, I understand that this one has been stripped of a lot of its original detail, but I think over time and with opportunity, restoring a house like this, or being one of the first, or I think is just a good opportunity to make Sargent Street what it was. And I think it should be preferably, I think I would vote to preserve it.
Thank you. And I guess that leaves me, I pretty much agree with that. The house style itself is nothing terribly special within the city. The only, to me, significance to it is that it was part of a group of what looks like 3 or 4 houses that were developed at the same time. Some of them which were nearly identical at the starting point. Obviously, everything's been kind of modified by now. So that to me is the source of any of its significance. And yes, all the houses on the street are gable facing 2.5-story buildings. And that's not in itself super unique, but I think it's just the consistency of that. So I would see at least punting this to the next round to see if it's if it ought to be preferably served or not.
I agree with all the comments too that have been shared, and I think its significance is that it's part of a cluster of other likewise homes. So for that reason, I would be in favor of looking at it as significant.
All right.
Mr. Chair, can I point out one? I see where this is headed, so I'm not counter arguing. But I
Okay.
do want to point out, I can see the
Sure.
point about the continuity, but directly across the street is more of a Victorian style that was built or redone later that breaks up the street in the middle. And there are mansards at either end. So I don't think it's completely out of the realm. I mean, I know where we're going with a second meeting. That's fine. I just want to note that in everybody's comment about continuity, if you look directly across, there is also already a house that kind of breaks it up so that you do retain some of the quality and the consistency throughout the street, but it doesn't lose it all by just doing over one that's dilapidated in the middle.
Thank you. That's noted. And that's a good point. Directly across the street is actually kind of a funky house with a gable with 2 wings. Each one has a bay on it. Just looking at the
Yeah,
street.
I'm not an architect, so I don't know what that would be considered for style, but
I don't know. Somerville vernacular. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's always it. It's when it boils down to it, we'll review that and see if how consistent is consistent. So, thanks for pointing that out.
thank you.
Anything else to add, or should we go with a vote?
Hearing
I
nothing
move-
else, I'll let Robin make a motion.
I'll move that we vote to find the property historically significant.
I'll second that.
A motion for significance by Vice Chair Kelly, seconded by Mr. Shagnon. A yes vote would be for significance. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll do a roll call. Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
Ms. Price,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. And we need to follow that up with findings. And to me, the findings really rely only on the relation of its style in relation to this, to its immediate, to the streetscape on that
Yes.
side, on either side of it there.
I think also the retention of its original form and massing. Is
That's
part,
true.
I mean, that's how it relates to the streetscape,
It's-
so.
Relatively
Yes.
unmodified compared to some of its neighbors. To
Yeah.
exclude the back L.
I think the back L looks to have been relatively original and some of the others have more back L.
Hmm.
That
I
really
move that we
helps
vote
us.
to adopt those findings.
I'll second that.
So again, we have a vote to adopt findings by Vice Chair Kelly, seconded by Mr. Shagnon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll do a roll call again, starting with Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Ms. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. So there we have it. contact staff and they'll kind of guide you into the next step, and we'll see you next time around.
I,
Thanks for coming tonight.
All right.
I
thank
do
you.
have a quick question that may be more for staff, but I believe the applicant mentioned also looking at the garage in the back. I wonder if we should be looking at that separately for significance, given that it seems to date back to about 1925 or before.
So Madison speaking, staff is allowed to review most garages at the
Oh, that's
staff
right.
level and
Yep,
make
yep.
determinations there. It's only in like very specific situations that something like that would have to go to the board.
That was it. Thank you. I forgot about that change, and I'm glad you've taken all those off our hands.
Okay. Elsewhere, oh, this is that map. Just looking at the map in the staff report. It has my great grandmother's house on it
Oh, that's nice.
on Bonaire Street. It's beneath what's now the McGrath Highway. Just zooming around, it's the Richards. Every time this particular map pops up into a staff report, I get nostalgic for days I never knew. Yeah, so we have no minutes, and there has been no CPC meeting. We always take August off, so there's not much to report. We'll be having a sort of a kickoff meeting, I think Friday this week, with the historic consultant that was hired to help us guide us with some of our historic stuff as it pertains to the CPA. So there's nothing really to report there yet. Any other questions or things anyone else wants to bring up?
No?
Any other topics? I move that we vote to adjourn.
Second that.
Okay, motion adjourned by Vice Chair Kelly, seconded by Mr. Falvey. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? We'll do a roll call again with Ms. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kelly,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. So there we, 7:07, that was pretty fast.
Not bad.
It's very
Yeah.
fast.
Go out and enjoy what's left of summer here.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Madison.
You too.
Thank you guys.
you.
Night,
Have a good
everyone.
evening. Bye.
Bye.